ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. Victorious Friday. East Carolina defeats the Army Black Knights 28-6. It is our reaction show special on this Friday. We are live streaming early if you're joining on YouTube, Facebook, and X. We're live on 94.3 The Game on radio and the IBX Media app at 12 noon. So in our normal time slot. So Pirates win it 28-6. They go to 3-2 on the season, 1-0 in the American Conference. A lot to get into. Leave your comments. We'll address those throughout the show. And man, it was a quick turnaround once again, but Pirates get it done. And we've got the same crew we had yesterday. Bobby Harward, he's back. Bobby, Pirates win, man. Pirates get it done.
You know, when you wake up this morning, sun's a little bit brighter, feels a little bit better outside. And, just biggest thing for this staff and these players, man, the last thing you want to do is go into a bye week with a loss and having that hang over your shoulder, especially not playing for 2 full weeks. And so the fact that they were able to come out victorious just allows them to enjoy this next week, this bye week, but it also allows the coaching staff to really hammer home some points because I feel like you can coach them a little bit harder after a win. And so that's just, I'm really excited for those guys, excited for the opportunity this sets us up for here in these next few weeks ahead in the American Conference, because it could have been really bad news if we were potentially riding a 3-game losing streak after Tulane. So, and
I do want to apologize for doubting the boys and the Hoist the Colors crew as a whole. I should say not you guys, but 3 of the 4 riders on Hoist the Colors picked Army to win, and we were proven wrong, which I will say a lot of the concerns I had about the offense kind of rang true at the end of the night, but the defense played lights out, and you guys had ECU covering, right?
I had ECU covering. I thought it was actually going to be closer than this. I think I said they were going to backdoor cover. I also said on the pregame show there would be no explosive plays by the ECU offense, and lo and behold, how did we start out the game? Back-to-back drives with big explosives, which
that's how it typically goes.
It is. And it was fantastic to see, though. I'm pleased. I'm glad to be wrong.
Philip Hilgenen, he is producing today's show. He produced the game last night. Philip, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I was a little wrong, I think, about East Carolina's explosive run game. A little disappointed in that, but I was right that our safeties were going to play a big part, and I was right that Tegan Wilk, it was big that he was here because I feel like he had a good game. Jamarly Riddle as well. We were talking about it before the game, the show. Bobby even said it. We need to enjoy these next 7 or 8 games with Jamarly Riddle, because there's a good chance we won't be having him anymore after this. So I was just proud of the way the defense played. Yeah, they got bailed out a couple times with some drop balls. Also, guys, and I'm not trying to take anything away from East Carolina. This was not a normal Army team. And I don't just mean that because they threw the football more. I thought they looked a little more undisciplined. Not just saying like penalties and that kind of stuff, but just in some of the stuff they did live ball to me, and some of the mistakes they made defensively, not filling gaps correctly, offensively missing blocks, offensively, they usually don't throw the ball, but still dropping wide open passes. It just didn't seem like a normal Army team. And I thought East Carolina did a good job taking advantage of that. However, still really was not a great game. Honestly, I thought play in and play out, they played better against BYU. Just the mistakes were less costly in this game. And I think this team still has a long way to improve, and I think they're going to. I think we've seen the talent of this team through 5 weeks, especially the offense, who's put up 400-plus yards in every single game. But I still think there's a long way to go.
How bad is Kansas State? Because they lost to Army, and that was kind of, we talked about it, kind of a fluky second half, but still, like, I don't know. I mean, the drop passes loom large, but I just thought, and I don't know enough X's and O's to know what exactly the talking points of ECU's game plan was, but I felt like really outside of those wheel routes that Army tried to hit them on earlier that they were unable to capitalize on, and then maybe that one jet action to Noah Short, who is a dog, by the way, for Army. Like, the defense just seemed to step ahead all night.
Yeah, it was. I was two things kind of puzzled me about Army's approach. And I agree with you. If those wheel routes hit, this completely changes the flow of the game and completely changes that. But I was surprised how much they continued to try to go out of the shotgun set instead of under center. We talked about a little bit in the pregame where they had success against Kansas State was under center. The other thing was 3rd and shorts, 4th and shorts. Why are they trying to throw the ball? Their MO is running the football. That's their scheme. That's where they're successful. I mean, they had a 3rd and short. It was 3rd and 1, and then Coleman gets sacked, and it's then 4th and 9, and they have to punt it. And then they have another 4th and short, and they try to throw the ball, and it obviously falls incomplete. So it's just, I was a little puzzled there. I don't know if they were trying to outsmart themselves a little bit and trying to catch ECU off guard, but it was not successful. And then from an ECU offensive standpoint, I was leaving the game saying, and even later into the 3rd and 4th quarter, we should be running the ball more than we are. And now looking at the stats this morning, I see we over doubled the amount of rushing attempts than we did passing attempts, and I still thought we should have run the ball more. So, good tape to learn from. I did like. I was glad we got pushed because we had kind of talked about it. If we can't get pushed against this Army defense, it's going to be a struggle. And I agree with y'all, too. I think I mentioned to you texting this week, Steven, I just don't know how good this Army team is. They don't look the same. But I didn't want to mention that much because of the voodoo that is the triple option and the military academies that have spooked us. And so it's good to see them capitalize, but this game really easily could have been a 30-plus differential.
Yeah, we'll get into some of the offensive problems. I've got to take it, and Caden Hauser kind of addressed it after the game as well. But, 5 passing attempts in the second half, 6 dropbacks because Caden was sacked on one of those. So, I mean, they basically just ran the ball, and a lot of that, I think, had to do with the fact that Anthony Smith hit the explosive plays early, and then they basically just dropped into coverage the rest of the game because they were not going to want to give that up again.
Well, and that was the thing that was wild is that backside safety kept cheating up so much.
Yep.
And so I was glad they took advantage of it and hit it over top, and then that kind of backed them up. And just for everybody listening out there, that's kind of the cat and mouse game that you play with, coordinators play with each other. And Army was trying to cheat a little bit, giving a too high look and try to cheat an extra man, lower it closer to the box, and it burned them.
He kept biting on that underneath route, and he did on the touchdown for Anthony Smith. And Anthony Smith should have had 2. He kind of slipped and called. He had pulled a David Tyree on the first one.
I thought he dropped that for a second from our angle, and I was like, you got to be kidding me.
So, yeah, I mean, this look, I will focus on defense maybe the rest of the segment, then get to the offense next segment. But, it just kind of boggles my mind, man, where this defense is right now in a great way. And you just got to give a ton of credit to Josh Aldridge, Blake Harrell, this staff. I know Blake is heavily involved in the defense. Even during the game, he's down there on the sideline, pointing stuff out as he sees it. It's almost like they knew what play was coming at times. He would point to a direction, and then Army would run it there and just get swallowed up. But I still don't know if they have many stars on this defense, but they're clearly just playing hard as crap. And even on plays where they're missing tackles, there's just a host of jerseys there to swallow them up. They've got those guys just bought in and a ton of team ball, and they're playing well together, Bobby. It's kind of crazy how much they've exceeded expectations.
Well, I think that's what is the key to any successful defense and any great defense, and they're getting close to being categorized that way. I would still like to see a few more games on the resume, but they're getting close to that category. And we talked about it pre-game show, the beauty of football is everybody's role and job is so important. If somebody's off or misses their assignment, then it just completely throws everything else out of whack. And you're right, they're bought in to their doing their 1/11th. That's kind of my favorite phrase in that coaching world is there's 11 men on the field. You have your one job that you need to do, and you focus on it. And we've talked about it year in and year out with Coach Tesh and that defensive line room. They're not the biggest guys. They're not the most athletic guys, but they're darn good at what they do, and they play really, really hard. And that's wearing off, and we're seeing that now in the rest of the defense.
Philip, what impressed you most or has impressed you most about this defense through 5 games?
Lack of explosive plays. I think with a defense where you were a little worried about the defensive backs you were worried that there was going to be a few times they let guys get behind him and the game just changed on one play. And I still even felt that way a little bit after the NC State game. There was a few balls that got thrown late in that game deep over the top. And it was like, man, that was a heck of a tackle. And we got lucky. We held them to a field goal, and they missed it. Is this the future, though, of Pirate defense? Like, hold them, oh, no, big play. And I think they've done a really good job not getting overconfident, not getting cocky. I think they realize that they're not the most God-given talented team in the world, so they're just going to go out there and be the best team that they can be based off their talent. And, this kind of bend but don't break mindset is not just a drive in and drive out mindset. It's a play in and play out mindset. They haven't had a lot of sacks this year, which we said they were going to, but it's because – whatever the reason may be, whether you're just trying to contain C.J. Bailey or Bear Bachmeier, or, obviously you don't sack Army a lot, so that's part of it's the opponent, but they don't have a lot of takeaways because they're not trying to take the ball away. They're just trying to force punts, and they're winning the field position battle, and I think it's like I thought it was going to be very boom or bust. Instead, it's been very vanilla. It's almost boring when they're on the field, and I think that's a good thing.
Sam Danka had the sack, which, by the way, Tegan Wilk, and that was on that 3rd and 1 play. They tried to pop the play action. Tegan Wilk and Jamarly Riddle were all over it. Rashid Reason had good coverage as well. They only sent 2 guys out for a pass pattern. I guess they just thought ECU was just going to completely sell out for the run, and credit ECU's defensive backs for staying home. They got the sack there. But he also had a play on 2nd and goal where he strung it out and threw the tight end down and made the tackle in the backfield. That was right after their 60-yard run. They ended up scoring, but I was like, man, there's that Sam Danka we've been talking about, like just making a grown man play. He, according to Pro Football Focus, the initial highest graded defensive player, Riddle's up there. Jackson Barker had a big game off the bench at linebacker. Josiah Robinson had a really good game. Tegan Wilk as well on the back end. So the defensive line played well. Just they're playing extremely well. The fake field goal, guys. So I tweeted ECU is going to attempt the 50-yard field goal because they were sending the field goal unit, and then I saw 0 run out there. I'm like, this is 100% a fake. And then I was just waiting for Army to realize it, and they didn't. And I haven't heard Jeff Monken post game, but that's. Whose responsibility is that on Army side? Somebody in the
press box. Yeah.
You got to recognize that.
It's funny how that kind of was one of my responsibilities, back coaching. That's kind of my first thing I always think of and look at when the field goal team trots out there. Now, I didn't know who the original holder was anyway, so
right.
But I had thought to myself, man, I wonder if the original holder, Army's probably looking at that, and I guess they completely missed it. But it's just on the sideline view, it's just so hard for those coaches to tell. And so there's somebody up in the box that's their responsibility. And, man, again, the set on Blake Harrell, we talked about it against NC State. And the other cool thing about that is, going through a week in and week out game plan against opponents is you focus so much on offense and defense, and there's a really limited amount of time on special teams. But when you add all these wrinkles and these fakes, it requires them to put so much more focus on these special teams. And that's why you see some of these unique special teams formations out of kickoffs or field goals and stuff. It's just extra stuff that has to be worked on and takes away from your other time. And the fact that not only have we put that on tape, we've had success that's going to scare an opponent going forward. Big deal. It's awesome.
2 fakes successfully. Obviously, this one, the 32-yard touchdown. Great blocking, by the way. And Kyler Pearson runs it for the touchdown, but also on your own 19, faking the punt against NC State. So, Phillip, that was a pretty electric play. Did Zoki or anybody recognize it on radio when Pearson trotted out there to hold it, or was it just kind of they recognized it as he was running down the sideline?
I think they recognized it as he was running down the sideline. There wasn't much, knowledge. You recognized it, and then I was talking to my roommate Thomas this morning. He said he recognized it. He said he was sitting there and going, it's not the real holder. And he looked at his dad and was like, this is a fake. It's got to be a fake. They're not just trotting Tyler Pearson out there to go. But no, Zoki didn't say anything. Kevin didn't say anything. We were waiting for a big special teams play from Tyler Pearson. I didn't think that's how we thought we were going to get it. I mean, he said some good
Still
plays.
didn't get the punt return,
He
but we'll
did
take
the punt
the fake
return.
field goal.
You know,
And makes up for letting that ball roll down to like the 1 or 2 yard line.
Yeah, that was rough. But and I shouldn't say we're ready for the big play. We've had big plays. We were ready for the crazy touchdown, and we got it. So, hey, I'm just glad they rewarded him, man. I think he's been busting his rear end at practice. He's a heck of a special teams guy. Seems like a real team guy. And it was awesome to see. And, I mean, he just, squirted through. Was that B gap or C gap? And just untouched. It was blocked really well, too. It's one thing to call that. It's another thing to actually execute it. It's a lot harder than you think because you're theoretically blocking 11 guys with 9 guys, and that can be a little tough.
So Blake said after the game that Bryce Weaver, ECU starting right tackle, was dealing with a small hairline fracture. But he went back in for that play in his foot.
And made the best block out of everybody.
Made the ceiling block there. So I don't love hearing that injury, but at least it is a bye week. I don't know how long it takes to recover from a hairline fracture, but that's not what you want your tackle to deal with. Either way, awesome play. Kyler Pearson runs it in 4-6, and that play kind of has gone viral, so some good publicity for ECU as well. Let's get a break in. We come back. The offense. Electric start. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about what happened after that. This is Hoist the Colors on a Reaction Friday.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt & Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt & Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Allen, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
This is Hoist the Colors.
Hoist the Colors, Reaction Friday. Bobby Harward with us today, by the way, brought to you by Sup Dogs, which hosted Sports Center on campus, 213 East 5th Street, downtown Greenville. You guys know the deal. Sup Dogs does such a great job supporting ECU athletics. We said it on the pregame show yesterday, along with the show, that they deserve all the recognition they get because they give back to ECU. And Bobby, I know you were there yesterday. Brett Oliverio hooked you up with a good view for your kids as well. So just a first-class organization.
Dude, it was it blew me out the water. I was a little hesitant taking the kids there, but like you said, Brett was awesome. Hooked us up, got us a good location for the kids. My son was on TV quite a bit, which is really cool for us. But, I mean, they just knocked it out of the park. And I know there was a little bit of complaining about why it wasn't on campus. Y'all have said it best. The Sup Dogs, they've given so much to ECU athletics. They've done so much for ECU athletics, and really for Greenville. They 100% deserved it, and they nailed it. And they nailed it again.
All right. Kason O'Malley is in the chat. He says we have thumpers at each level of the defense, and it really showed last night. Yeah, ECU brings the boom on defense, man. There's not much. Even when they miss a tackle, they're going to leave a dent. So I will say that. Cameron says, could it be possible that we have too many weapons on offense that JDB just can't figure out what to do and is overthinking everything? All right, hold that thought. We'll get our thoughts just on offensive play in general. Look, I'll say this. They did what they needed to do. Obviously, you want to finish the game better. We'll talk about it. But, like, 99 times out of 100, if you get ahead of a triple option team 21-0 and make them execute down the field, don't turn the ball over, and give them short fields and don't give up explosive plays, like, they're not going to come back and win. I know they erased the 21-0 deficit versus North Texas, but North Texas blew some stuff defensively and gave them a couple short fields. So, like, you have to credit the offense for the start because that, in many ways, helped win them the game. And we see the potential there. Now, and it's not like they were getting stopped after that. They had 1 3 and out for the entire game. They just could not finish drives. And, I said this after the game. I think they've got a problem right now, Bobby and Phillip. Like, we know they're a tempo offense. That's how they want to operate. And how do you play with a lead? They were like stuck between, even at the end of the half, same type of deal. Let's run the clock down and let's try to, get some points here. But they just don't look comfortable doing that. So I feel like they got to find a balance of like how to play with the lead if they're in that situation again.
Yeah, under Lincoln, we'd had 2 different tempos, and it's something you had to practice. We had to practice it. And I know there was 1 year pretty early on, we were really bad in the red zone too. And again, those are just other things you got to emphasize. Kind of just like we were awful through 4 games with penalties, and last night was just a great change of that.
Yep.
And
2 penalties.
Yeah, and one of them, I believe, kind of got essentially wiped off with a late hit. And so, that was clear focus for them. Now going into the bye week, maybe this is a good chance you have a week to practice some of that slower tempo. Because here's the thing. My concern with the offense is what you just mentioned, the turnovers in the red zone and the stalling of drives there. The fact that they, were still moving the ball down the field, like at that point in the game when you've gotten to a big lead like that, you just want to play complementary football and leave with a win. If it ends up being 56-6, fantastic, great. But you just want to do your job as an offense and maintain your defense is playing lights out. Don't screw that up and let Army back in the game.
You know what's one of the weird things about this? There are teams all the time that have struggles in the red zone. And they do because the field is condensed. And they look claustrophobic inside the 20. The weird thing is this doesn't feel like that's this team. You think of and typically it's air raid type teams because they're used to taking multiple players on each team out of that condensed part of the field. But it doesn't even, and I could be wrong, Bobby, so correct me if I am, but it doesn't look like it's the condensed field that's the issue because a lot of it is like, the interception last week, you go max protection, they only rush 4, and then you just kind of panicked. And then, like, the speed option was just like a really weird play this week. I don't know. There doesn't seem like there's a consistent issue. It's just that there's an issue in the red zone. I don't know. Am I misinterpreting this?
Yeah, I'd say there's some schematic issues.
Feels like
maybe
a combination.
Yeah. And then I'd say some decision making. Because I believe from your write-up this morning, Caton checked into the speed option.
They saw 0 blitz coming.
Which is the right call to do. And sometimes they just make a play. And that's kind of more so what happened in that situation. And then your coaching point to Caton today when you're watching film is, hey, you see how that defensive end is playing? Just keep it and eat it and live to play another down. And that's kind of the coaching point. Sometimes, he did his things he was coached to do, and then he just, the defensive end made a play, and that's what happened. With the interception there, I felt like he stared down the guy a little bit too long and then also threw the football too early. And whether that's the receiver struggling to get out of his break and Caton trying to time it, or he just threw it way too early. But I don't even think he was out of his break yet.
No, he was just coming out, yeah.
When he caught that. And again, that safety, that was the safety that was cheating down some too, and so they were looking for that. But one of the things I noticed, speaking of that red zone and goal line defense that Army did on tape, and I almost put this in the write-up, was they ran what we called a 7 across on the goal line. And it's just something that's a little unique, not super uncommon, but you line up your 4 down linemen, and then you just line 7 guys across the goal line, essentially. And, the beater for that is running a hitch and a post behind it to get the one of the guys in one of their zones to step up and take the hitch. But that just also is another unique look that they had to deal with last night. But really, they didn't see that until the goal line, and they did see it a few times.
So speaking of red zone thing, I do have one question for that one, you guys. So the late hit that was on 3rd down, 3rd and goal from the 10, up 21-0, QB draw. I felt like we were playing for the field goal there.
So was this before the half?
Yeah, this was before the half.
I was fine playing with the field goal there.
I think you at least take a shot to the end zone because at the end of the day, you're still in field goal range. I think that was a little bit of lack of trust in Caton there, in my opinion, from the coaching staff. Why are you not taking some shot? The 28-0 is a dagger. Now, 24-0 still is a 4-score game, theoretically, unless you get all 3 2-point conversions. But you're so in field goal range. What is the difference in a 28-yard field goal and a 26-yard field goal? I don't know. I didn't love the QB draw.
It was based upon Army had just burned his final timeout, and they wanted to run a running play to burn more clock so Army couldn't get the ball back.
And that's the other thing. It's
again.
Army, though. Army's not going to score in one play. If you're playing Tulane, I know, but if you're playing Tulane, okay, yeah. I get that. Because I'm glad you brought that, because that was the other thing I was thinking about. It was the difference in giving Army the ball 40 seconds and Army the ball with 1 minute and 20 seconds, it's Army.
I've seen it.
I was going to say they missed
Have
2
more
wheel
faith
routes.
in your damn defense.
And that is what shocked me, is that wheel route was not only open on the right side, they ran it again to the left and it was wide open again. So, yeah.
That was a bust. But, look, I get it. I think the plan was to run it on 1st down, eat clock, run it on 2nd down, and then take a shot to the end zone 3rd down with minimal time left. And then they fumbled on 2nd down, I believe.
Hey, Blake Harrell didn't get this job being conservative. He got this job being gutsy.
Hey, he faked the field goal.
He did.
He did. Our only touchdown outside of the first
quarter.
I know.
So, I don't know, man. This offense, I kind of struggled to know what to make of it.
Well, and I'll say this, and I recognize this. This was, I think, down into the boneyard when we were, and I don't even remember how the drive ended. It may have been the speed option pitch that we fumbled. But, there was and kudos to the Army staff for recognizing this. They kind of had a cover 0 look going on defense, Army did, and Yannick was one-on-one against press coverage, and you could tell Caton was looking at him and ready to throw it, and the coaching staff on the sideline I watched, they directed that safety to go over top of Yannick, and that's exactly what happened, and they adjusted and then took away that fade ball. So there's just, again, a little bit more of that cat and mouse
match,
game. Yeah.
Yep. Robert says BYU said they were jumping everything short all week as no one watching media. Well, Army tried the same thing at the beginning of the game and got burned for it. So I think, look, ECU had the right approach, and then it just came down to execution in the red zone. You can't obviously throw it deep in the red zone, or you're throwing out of the back of the end zone, or there's a tight window there. So they just got to fix. They got to fix the red zone offense, execution, play calling, decision making. I mean, it's just a series of things. It's not. I can't even really say it's one thing. Like, going back to Cameron's question, and Caton said after the game, he feels like once they slow down, they get out of rhythm. So almost feel like he just wants to keep going fast and not overthink it. And I wonder if they're just getting down there and they're checking, and maybe they are overthinking it. And look, you obviously JDB is a smart guy. Caton's a smart guy. But if they're just used to just going fast and making those split decisions, maybe that's just what you do and end up with a higher scoring game. I don't know. I know it doesn't play to your defensive strengths necessarily, but you also just can't come out with nothing.
Yeah, that's where you'd almost wish. I'm just thinking of, you have those coordinator press conferences, and maybe you get them this week with the bye. Yeah, I mean, and just ask them, like, hey, are in game live situations, are they showing you some different tendencies than what you saw on tape and what you called? And yeah, why are you slowing down when you get to the red zone? Because I'll say there's a difference in slowing your style of pace to play complementary football, and then there's a difference, which you should not be doing, going down the field at your tempo and then slowing it down in the red zone. That should not be happening. You should be keeping your tempo the whole way. So why are they going about it that way? Are they being thrown off by some of the looks they're seeing? What's happening?
All right, let's get our second break in. We'll come back. We'll continue on. We've got some more questions. We'll talk about just what the win means as well, going to the bye, and a whole lot more. This is Hoist the Colors on a Reaction Friday.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Get ready to board.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
Welcome back in. Hoist the Colors. We'll get into some more of your comments here. Segment number 3. Pirates beat Army 28-6. We had a comment on Twitter. See if I can pull it up here from Jay, who says if Army catches 3 to 4 passes, it might have been a whole different game. Also, I know Steve Logan said go for it every time, but Logan also kicked field goals and took knees to run the clock out at halftime. Maybe we don't have to go for it every time, LOL. Bobby Howard with us, Philip Pilkington in the 94.3 The Game studios as well. Yeah, so Blake Harrell said post-game as well. They went for it on 4th and 1 from the 16. He was like citing the analytics book. He was like, basically, screw the analytics. I'm kicking it next time. So, easy to second guess. I also say, like, if you can't line up on Army and get a yard, it's kind of like, I don't know, man. You got to be able to get a yard there.
And I had wondered, too, how much of it, he knows the offense had been struggling down there.
Yeah.
How much of it is, hey, our defense is playing lights out. Let's try to find a way to give our offense some confidence down here, too. That was another thought I had. But, yeah, kick the field goal, get the points.
ECU ends up winning the game 28-6, but always fun to have those conversations. A lot of talk about the offense in the red zone. Robert says maybe once we got up by 3 scores, JDB wanted to help Army run out the clock. Plus get work in on the run is needed to make a run in the American. Scott Lorbatcher says felt like once we got a big lead and had turnovers, we said, okay, you have to beat our defense now because we're not going to give you an easy one. It did kind of feel like that at times too, just with the amount of handoffs. And then Scott says how much of the second half was us just trying to find some spark in the run game and how much was not trying to put anything new on film for Tulane. So you think anything went into that, or was it just based on just trying to chew clock and also short week? I don't know how much ECU had in with the passing game outside of their kind of the base concepts and the scripts early, which were pretty good.
Yeah, I think a big part of it was really trying to run out clock and trying to win the game. And again, too, Blake Harrell's a defensive head coach, and that's kind of what you get. And that's what I love about them is they play to win the game. They don't necessarily play to score the most points. And just playing complementary football can't be emphasized enough, in my opinion. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying not to have what happened to North Texas last week when they played Army.
It is, it's refreshing to complain about a 22-point win over a service academy. So I understand it. Like I said going in, look, ECU just needs to win this game. I don't care how ugly it is. It's a short week. It's going to be ugly in some facets because that's what short weeks do. And the first quarter was awesome. And then it was sloppy from there on offense. But, like, you still won the game by 22. You beat the defending conference champions. Yes, it's not the same team, but you got it done. You had to do it to have a shot at kind of making a run at this conference title. You look at the schedule going forward. Like, Tulane and Memphis on paper are the only games you're going to be a dog in. You have extra time to prepare for Tulane now. You win that game, conference championship is 100% on the table. I mean, it's on the table right now. So I just thought winning last night, Philip, finding a way under tough circumstances is critical. And now, like, it just kind of it makes the next game that much bigger.
It does. And we talked about, how this could be turning point's the bad word, but a vital game in this season because, look, let's be honest, 2 of your 3 toughest situations were the first 2 games, right? It's going to be Memphis on the road at Tulane and a short week at home against Army. You've handled one of those. So you have not put yourself behind the 8 ball now to accomplish goals. Those goals are winning a conference championship. And what may come with that. We talked to Tim Pernetti, the commissioner of the American Conference, yesterday. He believes the American champion will be in the college football playoff. Not that I'm trying to get ahead of things here, but we talked about how big this game is. Because if you lose that game, I'm not saying you're 100% looking at 2-4, but on the road at Tulane will be the toughest game you play in conference play. It's just the fact. It's the best team probably in the league, if not the second best, and you don't play South Florida, and it's on the road, and it's a Thursday night. So this 3-game stretch, getting all these 3 back-to-back-to-back, really worried me coming into the season. I said I'd have been okay with 1-2, but you can't go 0-3. Well, guess what? You're not going 0-3. So I think this doesn't only help portray you forward, but also, I guess, and I hate to be this way, but if you do lose to Tulane, the world doesn't end. Obviously, you want to win every game, but if you lose to Tulane, the conference championship game is still very much a possibility. You're going to have to win out, but who's to say you can't win out? You should be favored in every game after that anyways.
Yeah, and Memphis, I guess, would be the only one. I don't know if ECU's favored in that game, but
I would hope at home. Memphis can't throw the dang ball. No, they look better last year.
Well, there's a chance they come in 7-6-1 and ranked,
which would be awesome.
Yeah,
we can kick their rear end while they're ranked.
That's right.
We didn't get to play a ranked BYU team because committee hosed them by not playing the week before. It's probably that dumb girl. That's probably the reason they weren't ranked, who decided to make Miami or South Florida not move up despite beating Florida.
It's always fun to dream. And I was texting with Scott this morning in our Bucks on the Pond chat. He said, win at Tulane and 7-2 ECU versus 10-0 Memphis is in play. So, look, it's never we can look ahead.
And game day's back in play.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know who else plays that week, but maybe.
Let's get it done. Starting with Tulane. Scott adding in the chat, this Tulane game is huge. Football Power Index has us at a 46.6% chance to win. Win that one, then we have 3 games with chances of 92, 81, 95%. So, more there. And Robert says, don't care how they beat Tulane, ugly or not, just get done. Look, if you beat Tulane on the road,
3-0.
I mean, I would call it the most beautiful win ECU's had in conference play in years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would be massive. So, it sets up a huge game. Pirate Mitch says the 3-loss ECU is not making the playoff even if they win the conference. Well, then who is?
I mean, 3 losses would be tough. Yeah. I mean, so here I get what Mitch is saying. I do. And there most likely would be a 1-loss conference champion somewhere. But if there's going to be any year that there's like a 2 or 3 loss team get in out of the group of 5, I think this is the year. Just because I don't think there's a great group of 5 team.
And especially with how the American has just dominated non-conference.
It's dominated non-conference. The unbalanced scheduling has caused them to beat up on each other. You know, like I said, Boise's probably going to lose in South Bend. Now, I will say, Boise's offensive line. I mean, that kid that's running the ball for them, that transfer from Fresno State, he's not running people over like Ashton Jeanty, but those holes sure are the same. They've got some dogs up front on that O-line from Boise. So, look, Notre Dame lost their home group of 5 game last year in Northern Illinois, just saying. So
Notre Dame's got to win to make the playoff or have a shot at it. So I don't know. This is like one of their best games left, sadly.
Yeah. Hey, so by the way, just looking at that slate, the week that we play Memphis.
Yeah.
You got TCU at BYU, and you've got Oklahoma at Bama. Other than that, not a lot of competition.
Go ahead and start booking the game day.
I know. I mean, come on. I'm sure they will have been to Tuscaloosa by. They go to Tuscaloosa all the damn time.
Or they're played themselves out of any game day by sucking it up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they lose to Georgia this week, and then lose 2 or 3 more, they won't be ranked anymore. And Kalen DeBoer have already been fired. It'll just be a rough place to be.
And then we'll be playing a new head coach in Tuscaloosa next September.
Nick Saban comes out of retirement.
Yikes.
Beats the Pirates 70-3.
While we are still dreaming, that happens. ECU, then they get the 12th seed and they get to play BYU in a rematch in the 12-5 game in the college football playoff.
Provo.
In Provo. Let's do it.
And we went on game-winning field goal like last time.
Yeah. They fake it this time.
No.
Just a couple more minutes in this segment. I don't know, Bobby, like the win, what does it change your outlook for the season, or is it just kind of a keep it status quo for your hopes going forward?
You know, what has really changed my outlook on the season and where I thought we could be a lot better football team than maybe I thought going into the year was game 1 against NC State and seeing that defense, and then seeing it again week 4 against BYU, and then seeing it again last night. I think this is going to be a kind of defensive-led team right now, and that's kind of, weird to say with all the high expectations we had for the offense going in, but that's the beautiful thing about it is, it's crazy to say we're essentially halfway through the year almost, which is
it just flies by, man. It really does.
I mean, it feels like maybe not for you guys because y'all do all the reporting and stuff on it, but it feels to me like we've played like 2 games, and it's just wild. But that's what's so hard to just wrestle with right now, and thankfully we can do it after, like we've said, a 22-point win. But man, this team has so much potential, and you'd kind of mention it before the show. Do we ever achieve that full potential, or do we just become who we are? And as we're creeping up on the halfway mark of the season, you're almost who you are, and is that enough to beat Tulane in New Orleans? We'll find out.
I think that's the thing. Like, 5 games, this is a good football team. They can be great if they can figure out how to execute in the red zone, finish drives, and continue this defensive play and stop making the mistakes. They cleaned up the penalties for 1 game. Can they continue that? They have the potential to be great. They can run the table, but it's very hard to do. And, like, I think the bye comes at a good time because we know what the issues are, and you have time to really hone in and work on that. And now if you come out of the bye and you beat Tulane, then all of a sudden, like, you're on that path. If you lose that game, you're probably on the path, realistically. Yeah, you can still make the conference championship, but realistically, you're probably on the path of, all right, you're probably going 7-5, 8-4, making a solid bowl game, and it's still a good year, but it's not a great year.
Mm-hmm.
So that, to me, is where they take that next step during the bye to become great. All right, let's get our final break in. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show after this.
It's time to soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota. Summer is here with hot deals on a great selection of new Toyotas, like a Corolla, $189 a month, or Tacoma, $279 a month. Soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
My hair is definitely a reflection of who I am. Wild, fun, fiery for sure.
It just goes with the flow.
Me and my hair, both untamable.
I wear it how I feel.
Feel fearless.
Feel empowered. Look fantastic.
Look fantastic.
Look fantastic.
Feel unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
The sun is out, and so are the deals at Greenville Toyota. Soak up the savings on a hot selection of new Toyotas, like a Camry, $229 a month, or RAV4, $289 a month. Soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota.
Loyal and bold, we're the purple and golds.
Yo ho ho!
And we're back to hoist the colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Final segment. Bobby Harvard with us. Appreciate his time this week on the Thursday show and the Friday show. Philip Pilkington, always hard at work. I think we're going to throw the Tim Pernetti pregame interview on our podcast channel, so be on the lookout for that. Philip and I sat down with him for around 20 minutes pregame yesterday. If you missed it, we'll replay that. All right. Jones Bones says our defense also probably plays the most snaps in the country with how quick our 3-and-outs and scores are. I mean, that's definitely a factor as well, and trying to slow it down and trying to find that balance, but it's tough. Teams are averaging 13.4 points per game against ECU this year, 8.25 if you don't include BYU. So unreal stats, man, what this defense is doing. And 5 games in, I mean, we kind of graded the coordinators over this week, but I think most people, and I don't think anybody's like thrilled if you come out of the first 6 at 3-3, but like coming out of the first 5, 3-2, at worst you're going 3-3 versus what we thought was the toughest part of the schedule. So I think like you've won the games you were supposed to and lost the games you kind of were supposed to, Bobby. So it's been a good start, I would say.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the key is to come out 500, like we said, and now you at least have that opportunity. And looking ahead to the back half of the schedule, after that Tulane game, you got Tulsa. I think that's going to be a battle. I think they're much improved, and I don't think that needs to be taken lightly. Temple in Philadelphia always seems to trip us. Always. And then Charlotte is kind of a dumpster fire right now.
If ECU's not beat Charlotte this year,
gosh,
I don't know what to do.
Memphis, Philip alluded to it earlier.
Winnable.
Very winnable. UTSA, we'll see how they play these next few weeks leading into that game. I'm a little less scared as I was, to start the season, but still in San Antonio, in the Alamo Dome, tough. And then at FAU, I just don't think they're very good either right now.
Yeah, and look, you're right. The Alamo Dome's still tough, but they did not look good against Texas State. That was at home. They go on the road last week to Colorado State. They squeak out a win. I don't think this Rams team's all that good. Like
17-16. Though.
Yeah,
very unlike UTSA.
So I don't know, man. It just seems like maybe you can almost say the same for ECU, but it's like the games where the offense is clicking, the defense isn't. The games where the defense is clicking, the offense isn't. So I don't know. There's a lot of time between now and this game. And look, Jeff Traylor's a good coach, but I don't know. I just don't know if they've got a world-beating roster like they've had in the past.
Yeah, I also think the key for this team, obviously, they'll get hyped up for the Tulane game. They'll have to create their own energy down in New Orleans because it already doesn't have enough fans. I'd imagine it's even lighter on a Thursday night. So they'll have to create their own energy. And then the challenge will be after that, hey, how do we focus in on each week and each opponent and don't overlook anybody and have some of those hiccups that we are so used to as ECU fans?
Still haven't seen the Mike Wright stuff. We did see Jaquez Petaway make 3 catches yesterday and 4 targets.
And have a rushing attempt.
So, it was good to see he's still alive. And, there's still, and maybe this goes back to Cameron's point, too, just a lot of directions to go on offense. I still feel like we can target the tight ends even more. And maybe that's part of it, too. When they slow it down, I don't know. You want to involve everybody in a game plan, Bobby, and it's not going to be that way. You can't get everybody involved every single week, but I just feel like there's a lot of potential. And we did see JDB last year get more and more comfortable as the season went on, and maybe that's a good sign for this year.
I just kind of had an epiphany and wondered, are we just still trying to figure out what we're good at? Is that what we're trying to do as an offense right now?
I mean, it definitely looks like that at times.
It's how it feels. And, I think the inability to run the football really stunts that growth and knowing what you can be as an offense. We had friends sitting next to last night, and they kept saying, man, when you're able to run the football, it really opens up everything else in the offense, and it does. And that's why he continues to try to call runs to open up everything else. And maybe it is just trying to, figure out what they were good at, because we kind of saw it against NC State, and what you saw in practice in the preseason, I think they felt like they could be a lot more horizontally with Petaway involved and that sort of thing. And then they go into NC State, they see that's not working out. They're not able to use Petaway as kind of they had liked going into the year, and they're having to adjust a little bit here on the fly. I think between the lighter schedule and just getting more comfortable as the season goes on, I do think, things even out a little bit and we become a much improved offense.
Brock Spalding, by the way, for the first time, had a target that was not not a completion, because it was caught. It was just caught by the wrong team. As I think he went into that game near perfect on targets and catch. He may have had 1 or 2 against BYU as well, but basically every time they've thrown the ball, he's come down with the catch. So He's proven to be a reliable target. Yeah, Petaway, 4 targets, 4 catches. Javante Connor finds the end zone again. So a lot of weapons. Injury-wise, they'll get some time to rest. Hopefully the Bryce Weaver thing is okay. Nothing long-term. He can play through it. They should get Xavier McIver back after the bye, defensive tackle. So, defensively, I think they're staying pretty healthy, knock on wood, and hopefully that continues. But it should be a fun second half of the season, Phil.
Yeah, it should be. And, one of the things I really liked about last night, Caden Hauser averaged over 11 yards per attempt and over 16 yards per completion. So, as much as we say, hey, didn't really throw the ball down the field that much, there's some offensive complaints. If you're averaging anything over 10 yards per attempt, you're doing pretty damn good at throwing the football. Not a bad stat to have. And I think that, like you guys said, maybe this offense hasn't 100% found their identity, but they will. And when they do, they can be tough to stop.
All right, we are about out of time. Aaron does want to know, where can we get that hat, Bobby?
What I'm going Ironwood Country Club. Yep,
okay.
That's where I found it at. It was at Ironwood Country Club.
He is wearing the Titleist. What is it? Purple with the state logo.
It's got where's the camera? Purple and
Yep,
gold.
purple
State of
and gold.
Mind. Go Pirates on the back.
That is sweet. All right, Bob. Appreciate you, man.
Yep. Enjoy Denver, sir. Hopefully your Broncos pull one out for you.
If they don't, I'm gonna be upset. But at least the Pirates got the dub. Philip, thanks as always.
Yeah, man, it was fun.
We will be back Monday at 12 noon. I'll be broadcasting live from Denver. Figure out something to talk about between now and then. We'll obviously keep looking ahead to the second half of the season, talk about the bye week, and recap this game even more. We'll see you then, Monday, 12 noon. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.